What is going on, guys? So today we're back with another Pokémon Masters video, and today we get to start a ton of new content. So this is going to be a long haul. So we've got tons of new sync pairs to go over. We got tons of new content to look at. So we're going to go day by day. Today we are going to start with Guzma, didn't look it up. I should have looked it up. I don't know which way it's pronounced yet. And Golisopod are coming to Pokémon Masters. So the big bad leader of Team Skull himself is who I'm talking about. If you guys don't know, you should go look him up. He's a pretty big deal. So he's sporting his bug type as usual. Hopefully Guzma and Kukui are going to have some cool interactions since they're both on Passio now. Guzma does have Golisopod here, a bug type weak to electric, which is interesting, but he will have the striker role, specializing in physical damage, and it's gonna be kind of interesting. So let's get into some stats here. So starting out with an HP of 446, an attack of 401, a defense of 189, a special attack of 155, special defense of 111, and a speed of 198. So all of this is at level 120 with no like promotions or anything like crazy like that. But already, HP's pretty bulky. It's not like insanely high. It's decent. Defense and special defense aren't super high, so he's going to be kind of squishy like all around. But it's okay. It's not amazing, but it's good. And then attack at 401 is pretty friggin' high. So with Steven, his attack is just insane. And what's interesting here is that we have better damaging moves than Steven does, but we have a kind of like close proximity of Steven's stats. So kind of interesting. I'm excited to see what this is going to translate to. But speaking of moves, let's actually get into these. So starting off with Pen Missile, a 2-bar move with relatively low power and a 95 on accuracy, but it actually hits the opponent at least 2 times, up to 5 times total. So that's pretty cool. We've seen that before. Dire Hit Plus is amazing. Got to get that crit rate up. We do have First Impressions, which is a doozy here. So 200 power, 100 accuracy, and it's a quick move at that. Downside is it will fail if you use any move from Guzma before you use First Impressions. So you can't use like Dire Hit and then use First Impressions to get your crit rate up to do more damage. You have to use First Impressions first. That's kind of the whole point of the move. Beat 'em Down is our signature trainer move here. It is going to use a maximum of 3 slots from the move gauge, and then based on that amount, it will raise our attack and defense by up to 4 stages. So the way that I'm assuming this is going to work, if you have 0 bars and you can't sacrifice any bars, it will at least give you 1. If you use up to 3, it's just going to add 1 plus however many bars it is. That's the way I'm assuming that's going to work. Your boy's X Scissor is our sync move here. It's actually pretty standard. 250 base power, no additional effects, bug type, physical, great. We do have one passive here, which is Danger Dodge 2, which will sharply raise the user's evasiveness when the user's HP drops to half or below for the first time in battle. So, that's okay. I can get behind that. So in terms of damage output, we do have some serious damage locked away up in this guy. First Impression being the star of the show for real. With a really high attack of 401, we've got a lot of work that we can do. Odd thing is though, we're going to have to pair ourselves with some other sync pairs that can boost us up before we can really get like a ton of mileage out of First Impression. After we use those up, we do kind of sort of fall flat, which is kind of underwhelming, but hopefully we'll get some sync pairs that will be able to refresh those quick moves rather soon. In terms of utility, pretty standard striker stuff here. In solo, as usual, the main goal of the striker is to do as much damage as possible. Pairing Guzma with others can definitely boost him up and kind of let us get the most out of him. But if you can't boost him up, he'll still do some serious work. If you end up with a team that can't boost him right away or just need the damage sooner rather than later, he can still do tons of damage. Like, it's still going to be there. Now in co-op, this almost feels more of a solid place for Guzma. And imagine Phoebe or Eevee, passing on the buffs to Guzma in co-op while, still hitting hard with First Impression. Like, it's still gonna, perfectly work fine. That actually sounds really fun. Now, as far as future-proofing, oddly enough, aside from the quick moves, we don't have anything completely unique here. Well, anything completely unique that we'd want to just keep forever. So I think the one saving grace for Guzma is the fact that bug representation is so small in Masters that he'll be relevant for a bug-type attacker for quite a while. His attack is high and he does have some hard-hitting moves, but he really fills a role where bugs just kind of have been lacking for a while. And that's what I think makes him special and probably going to make him stick around for quite a while. As far as team ideas, the first thing that comes to mind is pairing us with something that can boost up our attack and let us go nuts. Something like Torchic or Delibird would be nice. Then something to refresh those quick never mind. That's honestly really it. That's all Guzma really needs, is something to boost up attack and something to just let him unleash. Like, that's literally what he needs. It really is that simple. As far as the final verdict, okay, so real talk, I do have a soft spot for bugs. Pretty obvious there. I may be overhyping this guy just a little bit, but I really am excited to have more bugs in the game. One thing that I do kind of feel is lackluster is that if we choose to go with a boost before we ever use anything other than first impression, we do kind of end up nullifying 2 of our moves, which is kind of dumb. It's dumb. What's the point of boosting our crit rate if we don't really have first impression anymore? What's the point of boosting our attack and defense with beat 'em up when we don't really need to anymore? You see what I'm saying? Like, Pin Missile's fine, but are we really gonna boost up crit rate? Are we gonna waste all of the time to boost for Pin Missile? Like, it just doesn't seem like it's good. But that's basically just a slight downside that I can see here. But, you know, that's pretty much all I have for Guzma and Golisopod. I'd love to know what you guys think. As far as like a preliminary tier list, he's kind of hard to place at the moment just because I don't know exactly what his damage output is going to look like. I mean, I know it's going to be high, but I don't know how high. I would say, like, right now he falls into a B tier for me. That's trying to be as objective as possible, maybe a little bit too critical. He could be a B, maybe an A tier, depending on how strong his damage is. I haven't taken a look at any of his sync grid or anything like that. This is just based off of what we have in this video. I would say a strong B, maybe to an A tier, but we will have to see. What do you guys think? I'd love to know what you guys think. We are going to switch over and do a quick sync pair scout here, so let's jump into that. Now, unfortunately, the banner that's going to feature Guzma and another sync pair that we'll talk about in the near future isn't quite out yet, so we're just going to stick to the Sabrina banner. Still looking for some multiple copies of her so that I can expand on that sync grid. If you guys want to follow along, we're going to go in 1, 2, 3. So no flashy animation. Let's see what kind of antenna do we get. Do we get a good one? What do we get? Nothing. Just a regular old 3-star antenna. What about the doors? Hey, it is 4-star doors, which is a Lorelei. That's actually kind of cool. So I'll take the power up. No problems here, but that is actually going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for watching. As always, remember that if you want to join the Discord, it's actually linked down in the description below. Also down there are links to YouTube memberships and Patreon if that's your thing. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and head out, but I'll catch you guys in the next video.